It feels weird to be saying this, but Fate of Iberia seems to be receiving its final patch already. The content pack launched about a month ago, and it involved several new changes to the Iberian Peninsula, and it also added some new faiths, new cultures, and a lot of new content in general revolving around the region. Now, I have several videos covering the content of Fate of Iberia, and I even have a review of the DLC, my first review ever for CK3 or Paradox DLC, so if you want to check that out, go ahead, but I also want to talk about what's next for CK3. But with this patch, it added several new things. The most interesting thing, by far in my opinion, is the new West African pagan religion called Achamanism, something starting with an A, and it involves volcano worship and building giant megalithic structures, which create a ton of tax revenue. I'll link that at the end of this video in the top right hand corner. But it is really, really interesting and potentially very broken. So we'll see how it kind of goes. Oh, communism, there it is. So we'll see how it kind of goes, but it's based in the Canaries, which is really interesting, and it has its own unique Guanche culture. There's also a new gameplay setting to control when Al-Andalus kind of kicks the bucket. So when most of my games, it immediately splits apart due to the dissolution faction, but you can basically set that back a few years by changing this to when the ruler dies, or setting it back to like 1200. So you can really be a lot more flexible with this, which is nice if you want more of a challenge. So I really appreciate that the devs are adding some more functionality into that for players that like to play a bit longer under the reign of the caliphs, so to say. And of course, there are a ton of bug fixes here too. And also the AI will rage holy wars again. I found them never doing that, so that is really, really relieving. And then there is a blocker too for the AI to not give away their relics. I was getting spammed with relics as a king. I don't know if AI were trying to do that to gain favor or a weak hook, but I was getting tons and tons of relics. So really, really great to see that there is now a blocker, kind of like with EU4's alliance requests, I believe. So that is great to see. So I don't think it's too soon to talk about CK3's future, especially with the Royal Court kind of being a mixed bag. I think Fate of Iberia was definitely a lot closer to what they envisioned in terms of positive feedback and a good reception. So the developers are taking what is now known as a summer break. It's fairly common practice, kind of similar to their Christmas break, and it will be lasting, at least if this is similar to the Stellaris devs. Not too sure how CK3's summer breaks will work, but in the past it seems it ranges from early August to late August, beginning the fall. So not too sure how that's going to affect the game's development speed, but I know the devs still want their break, so it does take a lot of work to kind of put these expansions and content packs out under such strenuous and stressful guidelines. So I do appreciate that the developers are still taking time for their mental health. But in terms of expectations, I think this is going to follow every other kind of path, in that there's going to be a content pack, then there's going to be an expansion, and the kind of way that they release these content packs and expansions, the DLC in general, is going to be one after the other and just a repeating pattern. I could be wrong too, but I think that's just how it's going to be handled. I haven't seen any of the future DLC or expansion leaks. I don't think there are any, but if there are, I'll let you guys know. But I kind of hope the next region covers something like Greece. I definitely think the Eastern Roman Empire is due for a rework, so I hope that is kind of covered. But let me know what you guys think. This has been 4 Extraordinaire. Love you guys, and hope to see you guys later. All right, peace.